We begin with a major escalation between the U.S. and Venezuela. The U.S. seized a large oil tanker off the coast of the South American country. Attorney General Pam Bondi shared this video on social media. You'll see U.S. forces propelling down from helicopters, then searching the vessel. Bondi wrote the U.S. had sanctioned the tanker due to its, quote, involvement in an illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations, end quote. President Trump first announced the seizure yesterday.
We've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large. It was seized for a very good reason. I assume we're going to keep the oil.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand kicks us off from the White House this hour. Natalie, good morning. What do we know about this operation and how is Venezuela responding?
Good morning, Errol. Officials say the operation included U.S. Coast Guard members and also military special forces teams. As you saw in that dramatic footage released by the DOJ, they are seen fast rope boarding from a helicopter onto this vessel. Sources tell CBS that the vessel seized is called the Skipper, sanctioned by the U.S. government in 2022. And Attorney General Pam Bondi, in a statement on social media, alleged that it was used to transport oil from Venezuela and Iran, saying for multiple years the oil tanker has been sanctioned by the U.S. due to involvement in illicit oil shipping networks supporting foreign terrorist organizations. Now, sources tell CBS News that the administration is potentially considering more similar missions, additional seizures. This once again ratchets up the tensions with Venezuela and the Maduro regime, already heightened because of the series of ongoing strikes on alleged boat strikes that we've seen. Now, Venezuela's government in a new statement said, quote, it strongly denounces and repudiates what it says constitutes shameless robbery and an act of international piracy. Errol.
All right, Natalie, thank you very much. For analysis of this, we're joined now by Will Freeman. He's a fellow for Latin American Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. Will, good morning. For months, we've been watching this increase in pressure from the U.S. on Venezuela and Nicolás Maduro. I just want to play for our viewers what President Trump had to say about him to Politico earlier this week.
You want to see him out?
His days are numbered.
Can you rule out an American ground invasion?
I don't want to rule in or out. I don't talk about it.
So, Will, what do you make of all of this? Is it really to oust Maduro? If so, is this an effective strategy to achieve that?
I think it likely is about that. I know that the Trump administration has been talking about all this pressure as a sort of counter-narcotics campaign, but you're constantly seeing statements off record by administration officials saying Maduro's days are numbered, he's only leaving office a couple of ways, he better take off now, et cetera. So I do think that that's the goal. I think that's the goal Secretary of State Marco Rubio is very intensely pursuing here. Now, is it working? We don't know yet, honestly, is the unsatisfying answer. It's the regime politics in Venezuela is very opaque. Nicolás Maduro governs the country really with a large number of generals, and the hope is that one of those generals will see the sign of the tide turning here, turn on Maduro and force him to flee the country or arrest him. But honestly, unfortunately, my forecast is pretty pessimistic. This is a regime that knows how to control its own military. The military is infiltrated by spies. Military members who've tried to turn on Maduro before have been tortured. Their families have been kidnapped and disappeared. So I'd imagine that the levels of fear and paranoia are just so great that you're going to have very few high-ranking military members who would take that risk.
So just in our last few seconds, Will, tell me more about your forecast then, because if it is a pressure campaign, Venezuela is an oil-dependent economy. Might we see more seizures of oil vessels? What do you think may happen next?
Well, that's an interesting thing about the pressure campaign this time around, which is that it hasn't come with maximum economic pressure. Right now, the Trump administration has continued a Biden-era license that allows Chevron, the U.S. oil company, to drill in Venezuela. And Chevron's pumping about a third of the oil we see pumped every day in the country. Now, could Trump escalate there? It's possible, but there are some pretty strong oil industry interests that want normality here, that want a continued relationship with Nicolás Maduro. So we haven't seen him take that step yet. It's also possible that full pressure economic sanctions, really cutting off the oil supply, could increase out migration. And we know that that's another concern for this administration. They don't want that. So I think we'll see. But again, I think unless we're willing to put U.S. boots on the ground, I don't see a transition to an opposition-led government in Venezuela, full stop. Unfortunately, I think we have the dictator Maduro remaining in power, continuing his very oppressive rule. And ultimately, I mean, I think the Trump administration will come to some kind of deal with him and call it success.
All right, Will Freeman, great to get your insight on this. Thanks for joining us this morning.